Hello YouTube, this is Zux and I am a GM ZOTP, and this video is going to be on the Season 16 mid-lane builds and runes. So I'm going to go over 3 setups, and this is the first one I'm going to go over, the classic Assassin mid-lane setup. You're going to be starting refill Longsword into kill lanes and Door and Shield and we'll pot into poke lanes. And your core build's going to be Voltaic, Profane, Axiom, Bastion Breaker into Srolda's Grudge. If they build armor earlier and you can't kill them, let's say like their mid lane Syndra builds Azania second, you're going to have to move your Srolda's to third or else you won't be able to kill them. And basically you just build Srolda's whenever the enemy has too much armor and you can't kill them, so you'd stop going full lethality. The situationals are Serpents if they have lots of shielding on their team, and Edge of Night if they have very specific CC spells that you can't dodge like easily. And if you need to sub out one of the core for the situationals, I would sub out Bastion Breaker first, because I feel like everything else is pretty vital here. And then if you need Edge of Night as well, then I would sub out Profane. So if you subbed out both of them, your build would be like something like this, right? Voltaic, Axiom, Serpents, Edge of Night, Srolda's. But if you only subbed out one, right, you would keep the Profane, so you would build Profane second. And probably take out the Serpents, so something like this. You're gonna take Flash Ignite as your summoner spells because you are trying to kill your opponent. You're building Voltaic to snowball quickly. These are the runes: Electrocute, Sudden Impact. You can go Taste of Blood into poke lanes. Usually Sudden Impact is better. Those are Mementos, Ultimate Hunter. And for the rune trees, I prefer Legend Haste and Cut Down as opposed to Transcendent Scorch. I just feel like you just get it online quicker, right? Like if you last it a lot, you help take objectives, you get your Legend Haste on quicker, and you don't really need the Transcendence ability haste like in general because you have Ultimate Hunter, and your haste can also just count for, it's more ability haste on your basic abilities, and you already have a lot of Ultimate Hunter haste, right? Cut Down scales harder than Scorch. Scorch does no damage late game, so if you really want to play hard into lane, you could do this, but I would recommend doing this. So the next setup I'll be going over is the First Strike scaling mid lane setup. You're going to be taking this into comps and lanes where you could proc your First Strike in. You have to consider both because, you know, if they proc your First Strike, you're left without a keystone and you'd rather just go other runes, right? So you're going to start Longsword refill, usually, and then you go de-shield into poke lanes. And you're going to go Hubris first item, Profane into Grudge. I would say these 3 are core. You would always go these 3 because these 2 help you accumulate gold fast. Profane helps you clear the way, Hubris with your scaling, and Srolda's Grudge helps you get your 5th Jack of all trades stack because you'll be taking that rune in this setup. 4th is Axiom, 5th is Bastion Breaker, and you sell boots for Yomus. And yeah, I forgot to mention, like, you always sell boots for Yomus with the Assassin build, right? Even with Electrocute setup, you'd sell your boots for Yomus because a lot of items this season scale with lethality and you want the maximum lethality in your build. Situationals, again, Serpents, Edge of Night. You're only going to be going full lethality this season, like it's not a defensive season. I would sub out Bastion Breaker first for a situational, then I'll sub out Axiom second if you really need this. Because I think Axiom is always better on Zed than Bastion Breaker. These are the runes you're going to be going. First Strike, cashback, triple tonic, jack of all trades. Secondary. Okay, I'm gonna be a little more specific with this rune setup because, yeah, you could either take Transcendence or you could take Absolute Focus on the rune pages. So I was talking about the situationals, right? If you take Axiom and Bastion Breaker, they both give a ton of ability haste, right? Like Axiom gives a lot. Axiom gives 20, Bastion Breaker gives 15. So if you're gonna go these items and you know you're not gonna go your situationals like Edge of Night and Serpents. Edge of Night Serpents have 0 ability haste. So if you're going situationals in that game, like if you're building situational items, you know you're gonna be doing that. You're not gonna be building ability haste. You go Transcendence, right? But if you are not gonna build those and you have Axiom and Bastion Breaker, you're gonna go Absolute Focus for the maximum amount of AD and scaling. And the sums you've taken this build are Flash TP. You're gonna scale with First Strike. You're not trying to soul kill. Trying to farm up and get as much gold as possible. So the last build I'm gonna be going is the Bruiser Z setup, which you'll be taking Conqueror. And you can also take Flash TP or Flash Ignite in this setup, depending if your lane is a kill lane or it's just a tank lane. You want to scale it, right? So the first item you're going to build is Doran's Blade and Conqueror. Doran's Blade is really good. You get Omni-Gap health, AD. This is all you want from a starting item. And you take Conqueror, you're going to keep this for a long time. It's going to help you a lot with how you're going to try to play the game. The Conqueror setup. First item, Eclipse. I would say you could go different boots with this setup because you're going to be tankier, right? Let me just go Ionian. If they don't have like super, I guess, like a lot of CC for Merc Shreds or like a lot of AD for Steel Caps, but I would generally not build Steel Caps on Zed because you could just W away, right? You're not going to take a lot of autos, but I'd more build Mercury Shreds for Tenacity if you really need it. So it's either Ionian or Mercs generally, and Tavi's probably not. I probably wouldn't build this, but you still can if you really are into like a 100% full AD comp, then go for it. Second item, Black Cleaver Cerildas. You go Black Cleaver in comps where you have carries on your team that are also AD and you want to like shred armor for them, and or you're up against like an armor scaling champ like Cassante, like Ornn, like Rammus, Malphite. These characters scale with armor, and if you shred their armor, you know, they're still less in general, right? You build Cerildas if they're more on the squishy side. Your team might not have like a lot of AD damage for you to stack Black Cleaver for. Or if someone else on your team is already stacking Black Cleaver, you don't want to stack Black Cleavers together, right? You want them to build that so you could benefit with the penetration on top of the armor shred. Third item, Shojin. This is gonna be your core, right? Eclipse, your armor pen item, then Shojin. And then I would go Sundered Sky into Endless Hunger if you don't need any of these situational items, right? These two are like your full damage setups that you don't need anything else, right? I would always sub out Sundered Sky first for if you want one situational, and if you need two situationals, then I would sub out Endless Hunger second, right? Serpents you need for shield reduction, Punk heal reduction, Styrax for tenacity. If they have like a lot of tenacity on their team, like a bunch, honestly, I'd recommend instead of going Edge of Night, you just go, you go Mercs, Styrax, and Endless Hunger instead of Sundered. This will give you like so much tenacity where to the point where you don't really need your Edge of Night because you're just kind of wasting money on lethality when this is like a more HP tenacity kind of build. I would only go like Edge of Night if you're also subbing out Endless Hunger or your Mercs, so you're not going full tenacity build but you still need to block like a spell. But yeah, that's Dance full AD comps, Maw for full AD comps as well, and yeah, those are the situationals. And the rune tree for this build is going to be Conqueror. Okay, Conqueror, Presence of Mind, Legend Haste. Okay, so if they have a lot of CC and burst where you don't think that. Okay, just look at the enemy comp, right? If they have like Cho'Gath, Leona, Vagar, right, stuff like that, that they'll burst you immediately once you're low HP, right? You kinda would not want to take Last Stand, right? Because Last Stand you're not gonna benefit from it. You're just gonna die low HP. So you're gonna take Cut Down and play from like, you're just gonna use your Cut Down more often. Because if you play melee and you get stunned and die, you're not gonna make these your Last Stand, right? And Cut Down helps you a lot in lane. Especially like, you know, because you're taking Conqueror, you're not taking like a burst spell like First Strike or Electrocute. So Cut Down helps you with you know, getting that early damage in lane. So you just take Cut Down if they don't have lots of CC and burst, and if they don't, then you can take Last Stand because you'll have more leeway to use the increased damage. If you take Flash Ignite with this setup because you want to like solo kill, like you're into a Irelia or Salas lane melee, you're gonna take damage instead of ability haste, and then Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence. This is a classic like kill setup, something like this, right? If you're taking Flash TP, you're not really confident you're going to kill your lane, but you still want to take Conqueror, you go Transcendence, Gathering Storm, take Ability Haste, and the Gathering Storm's AD will cover for taking Ability Haste, so something like this if you take TP. And yeah, those are all the 3 builds I'd say for Season 16. And yeah, if you have any more questions, if you want me to go more in depth in builds or like runes or decision making, just leave a comment. And yeah, thanks for watching and subscribe.